Hello and welcome to Learning and Development 101. I'm your host, Joe, and today I'm joined by a rather top-tier guest, Dan Frank. Now I'm going to let him tell you all about himself. Sorry. Dan, coming in, tell us who you are, what you do, and why we're here.
All right, so I am Dan Frank. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at Enabley. Been in the company for around 4 years, and we are here today to talk about the deskless workforce and, how to train deskless people.
Perfect. So straight off the bat, when we talk deskless learning, because it may not be fully there for everyone, what are we really talking about? I mean, surely everyone has access to a computer.
Yeah, so not really, right? That's what we like to think, but I'll start maybe with some facts. So 80% of the world's workforce is deskless.
Okay.
So that's important to note. Obviously, the characteristics of such are that it's people that are on the go, might be in the field, while during their job, they usually do not have access to a PC and are looking to get training in different ways that we'll talk about later.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I can name out, right? There's different industries where you would have different workforce,
Yeah.
people that are deskless. And that's the hospitality industry, the retail industry, transportation, manufacturing, agriculture, construction workers or healthcare employees, right? So
Mhm.
that's kind of the communities that usually we talk about when we say that, that word deskless.
Yeah. So it seems to be very much people-facing roles.
Yes, in most of the cases, that's 100% right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, that surely must crop up with a lot of challenges when it comes to learning. What are some of the big ones? Obviously, not having
Well,
access to a computer being one of them, but other than that.
yeah, so other than the device itself, we look at different areas that are challenges for organizations to train the deskless workforce, right? So as a start, maybe we can talk about, as a title,
Yeah.
support and communication, right? So how do you support people that aren't necessarily located in your facilities, or how do you communicate with them?
Mhm.
They might be remote. They might not see a colleague for a month, or they might be in kind of isolated teams
Mhm.
where getting that organizational culture out there, and or even the professional alignment is quite something difficult to do for any organization.
Yeah.
And then you can look at at things like for example, training as or even personal development, right? So the training that I as an organization want to provide to my employees,
Mhm.
and any personal development aspirations that employees have. So that also is definitely a big challenge with this community.
Yeah.
And maybe the third kind of big challenge that I think we should mention is, in general, the job satisfaction and retention of these employees, right?
Mhm.
So organizations tend to deal a lot with the retention rates
Mhm.
of deskless employees. In general, recognition, appreciation, and such of these communities. So there's a few challenges that we can continue and name, but I guess these are kind of the main ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
They sound really, really big challenges, to be fair, for any company, I guess.
yeah, yes.
So if those are the three sort of top challenges, I want to bring Enabley into this because, quite frankly, I love Enabley. I think it's a great thing. And I know that you've recently done some changes to bits and bobs. It escapes the top of my head. So kindly refresh me about what's happening at Enabley and how you're kind of sort of addressing these little bits and bobs.
Yeah. So I'll start, by the fact that, this is our mission as a company, right? That's our target. That's our mission. We want to be known as the #1 platform out there to support the deskless workforce. We see a lot of gaps in these areas, technological gaps, but also from a strategizing, when a learning and development group is putting out the strategy for rolling out training and development for that community as well. So we try to provide solutions for both of these areas. Obviously, being a technological platform, the area that we invest in most is the technology itself, the platform itself, the gaps that we see from organizations that we work with, and maybe to kind of not really talk about the features as an essence, but just a few things to kind of showcase around, right? So it all starts with, how does an employee even log into a system, right? So we know that a lot of the larger organizations that have a lot of deskless workforce or personnel, they might have that HQ LMS or that robust LMS for the entire organization. It's usually big enterprises and such, but then you find out that you have an issue with people that don't have an organizational email, or freelance employees, or shift employees, or different people that just don't get access to that platform. So that's where it all, I'd say, starts from. It then goes on to the fact that this type of workforce, it could be individual people or seasonal employees. They might not have a fixed location, right? They might be working in shifts. They're very diverse usually, right? So very wide range of backgrounds and different positions. And as you mentioned, some handle physical products or provide services as being the front line. So it's not like there's a specific solution that would make it easy for everything that I mentioned, but a lot of that, a lot of the essence that we put into the platform is by making sure that anyone with any device could be trained anywhere. And I'll just give a very nice example, a small example, but we had a mining company, a rather large aluminum manufacturer, and a lot of their employees are miners, and they wanted people in the mines to get access to training, or to have the ability to get on the job documentation available. So we've developed just for that part, we've developed strong offline capabilities. So today, using the platform, you could decide to download content onto your device, consume that content when you're offline, and then once you're back online, the platform would be synced with all the data of that consumption, right? So the answers to the questions, or the amount of time that you invested in reading article A or content B. So that's kind of a big part that we did, around that area of no connectivity. And different areas of QR codes are also being used to kind of make sure that people have the right information in the right time, and also connected to the specific product or equipment. So that's kind of a few things that we do, which are unique here at Enabley.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, we're always connected now in the world, and I think because we have such instant access, we forget about people and roles that just don't have this.
Definitely.
Okay, yeah, you'll find some forest in the middle of nowhere where you go camping for a week and you've got no signal, but that's like, oh, it's an inconvenience for a week, as opposed to people who actually work, like in your example, underground, where I'm pretty sure internet doesn't exist. So yeah, it sounds like a huge, I want to say challenge, but like a huge obstacle that I think you guys seem to be tackling very well. And I love the QR code thing that you guys are doing, by the way. To me, it's just wonderful. You know, if you want to troubleshoot a piece of equipment, or you're doing some on-the-job training, it's like, hey, look, get your phone out, scan this QR code. Here's a 2-minute training video on how to operate this machine. Perfect.
Yeah, we're now seeing for the first time a manufacturer from the automotive industry starting to use QR codes for mechanics all around the world to get instructions about installing devices instantly. So different use cases for how you can scan something that you see in that, right? It's a lot of that is about connecting the real world, right, the physical world, to the digital world. Another nice thing in this area, for example, is we had a manufacturing company wanting to enable their managers to have the option to scan a QR code of a person, right? So of an employee, and instantly see the certifications that employee has.
Okay.
So if I'm driving a forklift, then you can come up to me and just give me your, just ask for my badge, for my employee badge. I'll scan that in Enabley, and I will instantly see if you are allowed to drive that forklift right now, or if maybe that certification had expired, right? So different use cases for connecting that real world aspect to the digital world.
Yeah, I love it. I really do love it. I think the biggest challenge is probably getting people out of the mindset of you can't use your phone at work anymore. But that's another bridge to tackle.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things, we talk about in learning is engagement. And you've kind of really touched on a lot of key things about engaging people with offline content. But what is it that really, really engages deskless workers?
Yeah. So I'll start by saying maybe that, simplicity is key. Both from managing the training of an organization and the training of the deskless workforce, but especially for the workforce itself. And you kind of mentioned that before when you said we live in the digital world. So deskless employees that have never used a computer in their life still use their smartphones on a daily basis, right? So we all know how to use smartphones, which is great. And that's an essence in making sure that people will want to consume content and want to consume training. So we start by making it as simple as we can to use and to get to that place that you're looking for, or whatever you're looking for. Then it continues, I'd say, with different gamification capabilities, right? So things like giving points for course completion, maybe even redeeming these points into products that the company can provide, right? So you complete courses, you collect coins, and then you kind of use that to get something from the company you work for. Another area that we kind of bring in unique content is, so we have that part, which is the catalog, right? So we have external content, we have different companies that we partner with, which are content creators. And I won't maybe mention their names, but today we have 2 partners in this area. And in difference with other content, which is more structured, or a 1-month course into sales leadership or such, we really try to focus on content that is micro-sized bites of knowledge. And that relates a lot to that workforce. So one entire catalog that we are able today to provide in Enabley consists of about 360 different courses, all in very, very small chunks of content. Making sure that, it's mostly video content and not a lot of slides or PDFs, but video content, engaging, asking questions that pop up every minute or so, making sure that, even though it's short content, we still want to deliver knowledge, right? So that's one part. That the second part, which is happening in these days, actually, and you asked what's going on in Enabley, so that's part of that. Is we connected to a entire catalog of content that is audio based. So if I'm an employee working on an assembly line, I can still choose a piece of content or course, put the phone back in my pocket, and get content via audio, right? We still keep for that audio some questions at the end to get some feedback about the content and such. But again, that's something quite unique that we're partnering with at the moment. And making sure that the content, which is usually soft skills or general content, is pinpointed to the deskless workforce as well. So I think these are two areas. I guess
those are big things, especially the audio side of things. I mean, I don't know about you, but I like listening to a good podcast every now and then when I'm doing a monotonous job, just to learn and do things. So yeah, I mean, we kind of covered this throughout the whole thing. Like, what does Enabley do to support the deskless workforce? But Enabley is support for the deskless workforce. Like, there's no one thing. It's like, if you could think of, hey, how can I support you? You just think Enabley, and that does it for you. So you kind of really just answered that question all on its own. What's next? Where do you want to see Enabley go? A bit of the off the cuff question, but where would you like to see things progress to? So
I'll say, from a very, very high level standpoint, I think our what we wish for, right, is that when an organization is looking for a solution to train or to provide knowledge to people that are their deskless workforce, we want them to think Enabley. And that's kind of the direction that we're going as a company. But to be more practical, we want organizations to invest more in this workforce. There's a lot of issues or challenges to deal with this workforce, right? So we read a lot of information and a lot of research that is done about the deskless personnel, right? The average deskless person. For example, right, this has been done by Boston Consulting Group, right? So we know that 81% of deskless workforce, right, of hourly workers, leave their job within the first 6 months of their job. 81%, right? So 4 out of 5 people. And that costs a lot of money for organizations, because you need to hire them, right? And you need to train them. And then eventually you've put in that investment in that employee. And I'm not talking about the fact that employees are just, not satisfied, right? That which is another side impact for that, for that fact. But there's a lot of challenges with this workforce. And another kind of fact that we, again, it's all based off of different research, but we know that the one thing that deskless workforce talks about when leaving a job is the fact that their emotional needs haven't been met.
Okay.
So emotional needs is a big thing, right? It's maybe the recognition that I get from my manager.
Yeah.
It might be how the organization looks at me doing my job, or in general, my position. But in general, I'd say they feel under-recognized, undervalued, right? So providing training and learning to an employee and investing in an employee, showing an employee a career path, or upskilling an employee, it might not deal with that entire topic called emotional needs, but it definitely does provide somewhat of a solution to that area, which again is the number one key factor for an employee, for a Deskless employee leaving his job.
Yeah.
So we know that learning and training is important for the Deskless workforce. We know it can assist organizations, and I think we're now trying to, I'm saying trying, but we see clients and partners of ours doing a lot of things in that area, and we see KPIs that we measure in the area of how that improves, lowers retention rate, right? So, I think, we're trying to get more and more statistics from our clients, showcase that to other organizations, and educate other organizations that, investing in the Deskless workforce is just going to assist their company in the bottom line.
It's a worthwhile endeavor.
Yeah.
Excellent. So thank you very much for your time. And one thing that we always do when we wrap up a show, assuming no one has listened to us for the last 20 so minutes, which I would be very disappointed if they haven't, what's one thing you want people to take away from today?
One thing, one specific thing.
Hard to narrow it down, but one thing.
Yeah. Maybe take people back to COVID times. Okay. And let's all remember, that when we say Deskless workforce, these are the people that continue to work when we were locked up in our homes, right? So think about that. Maybe think about that, and invest in this community.
That's a strong thought to take away. Yeah, I'm not going to top it.
Dramatic ending.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we don't lose any listeners over that. But anyway, Dan, thank you very much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it.
Likewise.
It's
thank you, Joe.
It's wonderful.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to reach out, you can reach out to Dan Frank on LinkedIn. He'll be linked in the show notes. If you want to reach out to Enabley again, you can do so. Or if you'd like to learn more about Enabley, you can also reach out to Olivia Hirschfield, who I will link in the description below. If you want to reach out to the show ourselves, we can be emailed at land101podcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, Learning Development 101. You can reach me on LinkedIn, and we have Patreon if you want to support the page and the podcast at patreon.com, Learning and Development 101. I'm Joe, and I will catch you in the next episode.